Peace and welcome to the channel, House of Hunger. Tonight I want to talk about the distortion of a distortion. Why is Zimbabwean media so toxic? And what is the antidote for this toxicity? How do we cure this problem of our media? And you know, why every time you listen to it, you kind of feel sick to the stomach? I know I do, which is why I hardly listen to the news, whether it's government news, whether it's news from this or that channel. Honestly, I don't listen to the news. I actually like to keep my mind pure. I like to give God, I like to give the Most High a chance to speak to me, or at least I give myself a chance to listen to something else, to listen to something that's outside of this atmosphere. I wait to pick up. I wait to pick up any signal that's coming my way. You know, that is almost my everyday state. I'm trying to do that. So yeah, when it comes to our media here, is a lot of toxicity. And when it comes to especially the government media, we call that propaganda, because you have to remember what government is. Government means mind control. And I've said this many times, and I know there's some people who probably might have heard me say that, and they think that that's something, you know, it's just abstract, or it's something that, no, that's what government means. It means mind control. So the government does what the government is supposed to do. It's supposed to control the mind. It's supposed to lead you a certain path. That doesn't mean the path is correct though, but it is a path that's supposed to allow those in government, or allow the governments of the world, to lead the people into wherever they want to lead them. And oftentimes that's not a great place, is it? You know, like when you really, you know, let's be real with each other, without fooling each other. No time to argue about whether they're leading us to heaven or hell. I think it's pretty obvious where the governments of the world are basically leading the people. And when I say governments, I'm talking about all governments. There are no exceptions. Okay, so we know that government propaganda is very loud. It is everywhere, you know. As soon as you step out the house, government news, man. Very rigid. You know, it's moving in a certain direction at all times. When you see the headlines, I could tell you this. I can look at a headline, and I know exactly how that headline is going to develop. I can see the future from a single headline. I know, oh, that story is going that way. Oh, that particular story is going that way. This is how it's going to be. Because I understand this shit. It's not too deep for me. I get it immediately. So that's government propaganda. Then of course you've got the news that's coming from news companies that are in alignment with the forces that are in opposition of government. Now, a lot of these media houses always have information that is diametrically opposed to the information that's coming from the state media. So I could tell you something that's very, very common, and I want you to look out for this. For example, when you see a particular headline, maybe from the Herald, and then you look for another headline from the Daily News or any of the other opposition newspapers or so-called independent newspapers, you will see that whatever they have is a story that is the same story, but it's completely different from how it's framed within the government media. So I've thought about this and I've said, well, if these two forces, first of all, we've got the government force, right? And then you've got the opposing force. If they are talking about the same thing, but they always say it so differently, what then is the actual truth? I can tell you what the truth is. The truth is, these forces are in cahoots. right? They work together. They actually work together. But they just look like they don't work together for the ordinary people. You're supposed to feel like these are you got choices. You're supposed to feel like you've got choices in this world, but really, you don't. There are those who are in power, and then there's the generality of the people. So in my view, those that we call opposition are not really opposition. They're just part of the same system. It really is one party that is made to look like it's two parties who are in opposition, but really what they are is a single group that is fulfilling different sides of one single plan, which is domination of a people. So at the end of the day, it is the people of all nations, Zimbabwe included, it is the generality of the people who are what you may think of as victims of this propaganda that either comes from the state or that comes from opposing forces or so-called independent voices and independent media and so on. It's just made to look as though they are in opposition, but really, they're not in opposition. They are creating a particular type of reality which is supposed to lead ultimately to the subjugation of your mind and my mind. The real playground here is our minds. It's not what you think of as the outside world. No, it's your mind. Because ultimately, it's your mind that is going to affect the outside world anyway. So the true battleground is the mind of the people. And they're playing this game in front of you in order to cause confusion and in order for you to have a distorted view of reality. So you've got the government creating this distorted reality by messing up or messing around with your perception of reality. And they're doing this in cahoots with so-called opposing forces who have a role to play in the overall mind control or government of the people, right? You got to understand that. And once you figure that out and you go out there, you're going to see life a little bit different, especially if you really chew on it and think about what I'm saying. Right. So nowadays you've got other independent media. When you come on YouTube, there's all these so-called, they call them YouTubers, content creators. I could be called a content creator, but I'm not. I don't consider myself a content creator at all. I don't consider myself a YouTuber at all. I really don't. And I'll explain that, in another video. So we've got all these so-called independent media that you can find online. But a lot of the times, a lot of this media is garbage. They are out there to cause further confusion on an already confused people. Especially those that, are really there to make a living. They're just trying to survive, man. This is where they get their bread. And you know what? It's okay for people to look for money and to make money. I'm in support of that. That's cool. You got to feed your family. You got to do something, right? Obviously. But a lot of these people are causing massive confusion. 1 minute into the video, you already know it's bullshit. You already know, come on, man. What is this? How did I even get to this video? Why is this even showing up? But that independent media is part of the toxicity. Garbage. Some of the stuff is unbelievable. It's unbelievable, But when we get to extreme cases, I'm sure you've seen even videos that will say something like, "Oh, this particular actor is dead. Oh, this is what happened to them." And then the actor has to come out and say, "Oh no, I'm alive." And they have to pass some message to their fans and say, "No, I'm healthy, I'm good." And you think, what in the shit is going on, right? So you've got that. So we know the independent media itself, within our own country, within our own jurisdiction, is just as messed up as any other media. In essence, most media, most of it is just nonsense. So the question then becomes, okay, so what are we going to listen to? What are we going to watch? What are we supposed to do if all of this stuff is aimed at our minds and aimed at our consciousness so that we have a distorted view of reality? Because already what we're getting from the government is a distortion of reality. And then now what we're getting from the independent media and the opposing media is also a distortion of that distortion, which we are already getting. God knows, so what is real? What exactly is real? I'll tell you what's real. I'll tell you what's real. You're real. And you know that for a fact. You're real. And the very fact that you've listened this far into this particular video and you've watched all the other videos that we've been putting out here, you are real. You actually are. But you're not really sure though. You think maybe, this is the same old. This is just, he's just saying that. He's just saying what he has to say, right? He's just trying to, he's got his own message that he's putting out there. So, why should we believe this guy, right? I understand that. I understand it. Yo, please check out part 2 of this video, The Heartbeat, the Manifesto.